Hello, so my name is Thomas Hillen Eriksson and I'm a professor of social anthropology at the University of Oslo. And as a matter of fact, I've been at the University of Oslo nearly all my life. But I've also been in a lot of other places, doing field work on various visits and travels, and I would describe myself as a fundamentally curious person. I've written more than 50 books about anything from Charles Darwin to happiness. But I've also written a lot of academic stuff and some anthropological textbooks, some of which are in fact quite popular and have been translated into many languages. There's one introductory book called Small Places, Large Issues, which later this year will be released in its 5th revised, updated and expanded edition in English. So I'm very proud of that. But I'm also interested in, anything that we people do. You might say that social anthropology is about what makes life meaningful for people and how do societies work. And these are questions that have dogged me all my life. And the most fundamental question I've been raising throughout my work on globalization, on ethnicity, on climate change, on Mauritius, on plantation societies is, what is the meaning of the word we? And this is a question you can spend a lifetime exploring, as I've had. Now I'm 61 years old and I've just published a new book. It may be my 61st book. I haven't really I don't have a count of the number of books, but it looks like this in Norwegian, and it's called 7 Meanings of Life. Actually, in English, it's going to be called 7 Meanings in Life, because I don't think life has a meaning. Life is meaning. And this may be my most personal book ever. It's an essay. It's inspired by people like Michel de Montaigne, the inventor of the literary essay, who's also one of the people I'm having an ongoing conversation with throughout the book. And it's a book which builds on my experience as a human being, as a parent, as a spouse, as a member of a local community, but also as an anthropologist who travels, who encounters people, who reads, who listens to music, who watches films. So it's this kind of book. And so what is the meaning in life? Well, I've got 7. It could have been 5. It could have been 50. But I guess the most fundamental meaning in life to me is that the meaning of life is relationship and process. It's not here, it's between. There is a lot more between than inside. And if you look at this hand, you may think that you see 5 fingers, but look closely and maybe what you see is actually 4 relationships between fingers. And without the thumb, the index finger would be, well, not worthless, but it would be much less interesting. So it's that which is between that I'm exploring. Through these stories, I'm telling stories about people I've met, about books that I've been reading, about things that I've been thinking. And as a matter of fact, to be a bit personal, since this is a personal book, I was very ill for a long time and I spent a lot of time in hospital. So there are stories from that hospital as well, conversations with nurses, but also conversations with Plato, because one of the odd things about the meaning in life is that in science and technology, we human beings have made a lot of progress. It's quite obvious. We understand the universe. We understand the natural world. We're in control of the natural world. And in fact, we've been a bit, too successful for our own good, because it's now Gaia is now hitting back at us, isn't it? But that's beyond doubt. Hadn't it been for medical science, I would have been dead a long time ago. But when it comes to questions to do with what is a good life, how can I behave to be a good person? How can I become a good ancestor for my grandchildren's grandchildren's grandchildren? We are contemporaries of Gautama Buddha and Plato. So we have a conversation going with people who lived many generations before us, and they speak to us as though they were our contemporaries. So in one of the stories in the book, I'm telling you about Zach, who's a young bloke I met in Mauritius many years ago. I lived in a fishing village. He had nothing. He was poor, but he had a really nice pair of white Adidas shoes and a nice white t-shirt that he put on every Saturday to go partying on the village square. And his view of the meaning in life, when you spoke to him, was almost as if he had been reading Marcus Aurelius, the last, as it were, of the so-called good Roman emperors and the Stoic philosopher. So they shared a view of meanings in life, in spite of being separated by 2 millennia. And this is one of the wonderful, interesting things about writing about the meaning in life, is that we have an ongoing conversation about it, and it's been going on since we climbed down from the trees and emerged from the cave. And so we are all contemporaries. We are all tiny little voices in a big cosmic chorus that stretches back in time and forwards in time and across in space, and that encompasses humanity. And the question that we're raising, and to which we have no definite answer, otherwise it would have been superfluous, it would have been unnecessary for me to write this book, is a perennial question that has been haunting us forever. And it's one of the things that defines us as humans, and that makes us different from ChatGPT, and makes us different from even the most intelligent chimpanzee. You know, I mean, maybe some of you have dogs, okay? And you play with dogs, and you think, well, this dog is really smart. He can fetch my slippers, and he looks at me when I, speak with him, and he responds to his name. But that dog would never utter the following sentence: "It is true that my father was poor, but at least he was honest." Whereas we human beings say things like this all the time, and that's the kind of thing that makes us human, and that's what fascinates me. There's one chapter in this book that I hadn't expected to write. I knew that I had to write about relationships. I knew that I had to write about scarcity as one of the meanings in life, and in this ridiculously affluent society in which I live, which is Norway, the one thing that we lack is scarcity. I knew this. I knew I would have to write about letting go, about death, and a number of other things, but also and about slowness, because I wrote a book about slowness and time and technology. I speak fast, but I can do other things slowly. So I wrote a book called Tyranny of the Moment about 20 years ago about information technology and time. So I knew that I had to write about slowness, but I was surprised to discover that I also had to write a book about, a chapter about the moment. That's one of the meanings in life. The moment, the instant, the first lick of an ice cream on the first warm spring day when you don't have a worry in life, the sort of exasperation of not getting what you want when you want it, and then suddenly you get it, and the feeling of being rewarded. It only lasts for an instant, but it's like a caramel, it's like a piece of candy that you can suck on almost forever, and when times get tough you can find it at the back of your mouth and continue to suck on it. So the moment emerged as one of the 7 meanings in life. I hope you're going to enjoy the book. I certainly enjoyed writing it, and as I said, it's my most personal book, and it somehow tries to distill much of the experience and ideas and thoughts that have been accumulated in these last 61 years.